Hello, and welcome to the Beyond the Grove podcast. I'm your host, Michael Vincent, and this is a podcast for the community to highlight our alumni, our staff, and other key contributors to the Aspengrove community. We invite you to listen along as we release regular episodes aimed to keep you informed about our programs, provide interviews with alumni, staff, students, and parents, and to highlight key events and developments for the school. Episodes will be made available on the school website and in the e-newsletter. And a special thanks to Ojin Lee for the intro and outro music. Thanks for listening and enjoy the episode. Welcome, listeners, to another episode of the Beyond the Grove podcast. Today I have another special guest for you. This is Magnus Hansen.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, thanks for coming on today. So do you want to tell our audience what year you came to the school, or maybe what grade you came to the school, and your grad year?
I came in grade 10, which I think was 2017, sounds right, and I graduated in 2020.
That's right, and you guys were the COVID grad year.
The lovely COVID year, yeah.
So you guys had your graduation in the summer at Tainamara?
Yes, it would have been early August or late July, yeah.
And I know many students are sad that you guys actually got to skip your exams.
Yep.
You're okay with that?
I was not complaining.
So, just curious, what do you, when you think back of your time at Aspengrove, what are sort of your best memories, or what comes to mind?
Looking back, for prior to Aspengrove, I was at Nanaimo District Secondary School, so large classes, a lot of people, so you don't really get to know everybody that well. So it was nice to graduate with, I think, 16 other kids and get to know your teachers and then classmates. I thought that was great. And there's just a bunch of extracurricular stuff, like going to Bamfield was one of the highlights. I don't know if they still do that, but that was awesome, just spending a week away and kind of escaping the day-to-day school life. So I think those are the best parts of Aspengrove that I noticed.
Yeah, it's interesting. So many students or alumni, when I talk to them, when I ask them what their highlight is, they say Strathcona or Bamfield or the outdoor ed trips. Did you go to Strathcona as well?
I was injured and not able to hike on the year that we did Strathcona, so okay. I was not on that trip.
Fair enough. And are you an outdoorsy type person in general?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was sad I missed that one, but it's all right.
Yeah, we haven't done Bamfield for a few years, but that was a good one. But we still do that style of trip, just with different locations.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite class, something you remember from high school? No pressure to say one of mine, just curious.
Kind of depended on the year. I mean, I always liked history, and psych was good. And then in grade 12, I really liked biology with Miss Marshall. But I don't think I had one specific favorite class, but all of them were good. Like English with Miss Nargang was always a good time too. So
yeah, I definitely think of you as a history buff.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what would you say is the most important thing you learned at Aspengrove that maybe prepared you for the future?
I guess it was, time management. I mean, there's just a higher expectation of what you have to achieve to do well. So the expectations of doing more, like, larger assignments and actually fulfilling your readings and doing homework that they don't require you elsewhere is helped me to kind of get on my own case and fix whatever I had to work on faster and manage my time better.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the biggest thing I learned.
Cool. And you're unique in a way in that you're one of the few alumni from our school who kind of gone on to do a lot of athletics. Do you want to talk about what sport you play and your background with that and how that's shaken out since you graduated from Aspengrove? Yeah,
so I played baseball. I played for the Mid-Island Pirates all through high school, which was a heavy time commitment, especially in the spring. It's like 4 to 5 practices a week, and then I was pretty well traveling every weekend. And then I'm now at McMaster University, and I'm in my last year, and I've played 4 seasons with them. It's a lot of work. It's the same. But I mean, there's people are always there to help. But you have to, the expectation is you don't miss practice for school, and you have to maintain a certain GPA to stay on the field. Otherwise they won't let you play. So you kind of have to figure out how to manage your time and get things done when you need to get them done, but not sacrifice going to the gym and being at practice and stressing about all that stuff. So
yeah, it totally makes sense now that you said time management, because when at a recent alumni event, you were kind of walking me through your week, and it's you are a busy person. I actually remember in high school thinking, when you were doing diploma classes and you were doing school and you were telling me about, the amount of practices and being away on weekends, like you do not seem to have a lot of free time. Do you want to let the audience know just like what's kind of an average week for you when you're at school, when you're also playing baseball?
So it depends when we're in season, you've got a full course load, so 5 courses. Some people take 4 instead of 5, but you need at least 4 courses to be eligible to play. So whatever your class schedule looks like, however that fits in, when you're in season, you're expected to go to the gym 3 days a week outside of practice.
And that's just for fitness and weightlifting?
Yeah.
That's not even practicing
maintaining
baseball. That's just
fitness and not losing your weight or strength while you're in season. And
so even just for your average person going to the gym 3 times a week, I think this is tricky. So doing that on top of a heavy athletic schedule is pretty impressive.
So my average week would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'd be in the gym probably at 6 a.m. before classes. And then practice would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I got to be at the field for like 3:34 until we're told to go home, which could be 8 o'clock, it could be 10 o'clock. It depends how upset our coach is and how well we're doing and how much we got to work on. And then on Fridays before games, we generally go on our own to hit, throw, just get ready for the weekend. And then you got 4 games in a weekend. And you're traveling around. Like sometimes you got to go 4 hours to Ottawa or go down to Windsor, which is 3 hours. And you're playing 4 games in a weekend. At the field from 9 a.m., first game's at 12, second game's at 4. Sometimes you're home at 7 if you're lucky. Sometimes you're home at midnight or 1 a.m. And if you have an assignment due on Saturday, you better get it done before the weekend starts.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So my hat's off to you. I'm not wearing a hat, but figuratively speaking, that's intense. So are you chronically sleep deprived, or are you a lucky person who can get by? I mean, you must be able to get by on fairly little sleep, but when you're saying, like, I know when I exercise at night, it's hard to like get into that more calmer body state and go to sleep. So if you're doing exercise till 9 or 10, I probably wouldn't fall asleep until after midnight. Is that the case for you?
Not really. I wouldn't say I'm chronically sleep deprived. It's exhausting on the body, but I wasn't sleep deprived because, unlike a lot of university students, I just refuse to do work after 10 p.m.
Yeah.
It's just not worth my time. Like getting an 85 compared to a 90, but losing 6 hours of sleep is not worth it for me. So I just wouldn't do schoolwork, and I just have to figure out when to do it and make sure I do it as well as I can. But I made sure to get my sleep because otherwise you can't perform.
No, that makes total sense. So in terms of, do you have tips or tricks or advice to people who are juggling that kind of schedule in terms of when do you have time to do work or when do you get your work done?
So I will say if you are a varsity athlete at a university, the profs are generally, and the athletic department are really good at giving you leeway.
That's nice.
So, but you need to be on top of it. Like if you have a game on Saturday and a big paper due or something that weekend, if you tell them 2 days before, you're out of luck. But if you look at your schedule and you get the syllabus, you know when things are due. If you look at your schedule and your game schedule or practice schedule and email a prof and be like, hey, I'm in Ottawa this weekend or I'm at London or something like that, and I'm not able to submit this paper on Saturday, they'll just be like, okay, fine, get it in for Monday night or something. So they'll give you a lot of leeway with when you're performing for the school, but it's honestly just figuring the time out. You just need to be good at it. I don't know. It took some practice, like.
Because you were saying like 4 hours to travel. So are most people or yourself doing work on the bus? Like, is that a time where you can get work done when you're traveling? Or?
Yeah. Some people do. I have in the past if I really needed to do something, but you're tired. It's not that fun to do work on a bus. So,
Yeah.
Like the possibilities there to do it. A lot of guys do, but.
So in terms of time management, we're talking like long-term time management. So I've got a paper due a month from now. I know I'm going to be playing games, so I need to talk to my prof in advance. Yeah.
And they'll generally give you a few days, like a 3-day grace period or something. They're very chill about it. But as long as you give them a lot of warning. And same with the athletic department. If your prof won't give it, if you tell the athletic department with enough timing, they will reach out to your prof and deal with it.
Right.
So
does that mean, are you just naturally planning your schedule months in advance? I know a lot of people kind of work week to week, but are you kind of, when you start the school year, like looking all the way through to December and mapping things out, or how does that work for you? Yeah,
I'm old-fashioned. I have a paper calendar on my wall, and I've got everything written down on it. So I do that. That's like the first thing I do when I get to school is map out what I have to do that semester, and then figure out how that aligns with everything else I have to do.
All right. Pay attention, students. That's a good hot tip there for Magnus. The paper calendar.
Works well.
Nice. So how would you describe what are you doing now, or what are your short-term goals? I know you've mentioned you have a few interviews this week, but...
Yeah, so as I said, I'm finishing my degree. I am aiming to move back to Vancouver Island, at least for a little while, start a career. I'll eventually want to go to grad school and get a master's, but I'm not too sure what to do that in yet, so I'd rather get some experience and figure out the realm of careers that I could possibly go into before I nail down one graduate program.
Yeah, nice. So maybe I have a hint of this, but so what's the best advice that you would give to high school students or Aspengrove students right now based on your experience at the school and based on what you've done since?
Biggest one I'd say, don't stress. I feel like I've said it before. Like, you go to Aspengrove, you're going to get into a school you want to get into. I think Mr. Vincent can speak for me. In high school, I was pretty chilled out and not that...
You were very relaxed, yeah.
I was not as anxious as a lot of my classmates would be about getting into schools or doing well on papers or everything. Like, everyone's smart. Everyone has the skills to do well. It's just, there's no point stressing over a 3% difference. Like, if you get an 85 compared to an 87, who cares? You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's interesting because that is, I think, a really valuable skill, and students sometimes struggle to put things in that kind of perspective.
Yeah.
They think like every little assignment they do is, the most important thing they'll ever do. Where do you get that from?
I have no idea.
Just part of your DNA?
I felt like I always valued school, not less than other things. It's just like I never saw the value of spending my entire time studying to get marginally better. Whereas I could still study and do well and work hard and do well, but have a lot of friends, like have time with my friends and play sports and do things that actually get a lot of enjoyment out of and don't stress about. So.
Okay, good. So you're emphasizing balance and putting things in perspective.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're...
Especially at university, like an 85 compared to a 95 is you're probably still going to get into the master's program you want to get into. You're still going to do well and you'll create a ton of memories with a ton of people. So I just go out, have fun. You don't need to sit at a desk all the time.
No, good for you because you were not stressed. You obviously played a ton of baseball, but had a social life, but also did well in school. So you seem to really be good at juggling those different balls, which I think for some people is difficult.
I may have just got lucky, but who knows?
Nice. So could you briefly summarize your post-AGS education and experiences? I know not the most fun thing to talk about, but you had a significant shoulder injury there for a while. So how was that, struggling through that, trying to play baseball?
Yeah, that was a tougher year of my life, which was second year.
Yeah, you've been really good at coming in and visiting us because
Yeah.
I remember talking to you when you had that.
Yeah, that was a little while ago, but yeah, I had my shoulder reconstructed. I was still doing a full course load, and I was in the off season, and I was 6 weeks in a sling, so I had to get accommodations for writing exams and everything, which was a pain. I remember because the surgery happened really quickly and I couldn't get an accommodation for one exam. So I wrote a midterm 10 days after I had surgery.
Wow.
And I was still taking painkillers. I was still not really alive. And I remember writing it on a Scantron in class, and I could not, I was left-handed and I had the surgery in my right, and I could not hold down the piece of paper, so I was constantly just flying off the desk.
They didn't give you an assistant, or?
No, I think that's the worst grade I ever got on an exam. I had no clue. I was just filling in random bubbles and going home. It was brutal. Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
But yeah, that was a journey, doing physio, trying to stay in shape, trying to do well in classes. Had a lot of support, which was great, but yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done any traveling?
Not a ton. I was traveling a lot around Canada for baseball, and I went to Florida last spring break, which was fun.
Oh, cool. To play?
No, just to watch baseball.
Oh, just to watch baseball. Yeah.
Just a little guy's trip down there, which was a good time.
Yeah. How does the traveling work for baseball?
Kind of depends where you're playing. Some day it's just you drive there in the morning, you come back at night. Sometimes you're overnight, depending how far away you are or if you play the next day. So kind of just depends, but you're on a bus.
Are you pretty much only in Ontario playing, or do you ever go to other provinces?
We've gone to Montreal.
Montreal, okay.
Yeah. So
how do you like Montreal? We're doing a Quebec trip this year. I get to go for the first time.
Great food.
And what do you recommend for food?
I have no idea. I don't even remember.
Poutine?
Yeah, it's good. They got great bagels. Different, but they're good. It's just it's a very multicultural city, so the food there is just really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
And do you have a favorite memory since Aspengrove? Any highlight from university or playing baseball or anything that stands out?
Trying to think. I mean, we've had a lot of success. Our team, like, I've made playoffs 3 out of 4 years, have a silver medal. Got Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. So, I don't know, just, I mean, my dream was always to play at the next level, so it's kind of hard not to pick that as a standout memory. It's just having success at the next level, too.
I'll admit I don't know a ton about baseball.
Yeah.
Do you have a position you play, presumably?
Yeah, I played left field for most of my career and then a bit of center. Yeah, so outfield.
And do you get to choose that, or does the team dictate that,
No.
or do you try out for that particular position, or how does that work?
I mean, the coach plays you where he sees you best fit, but there's 3 spots in the outfield, and I pretty well was in left field my entire career. And it's just suits me, I guess. Like, my skill set is tailored for that position.
Do you prefer batting or the outfield?
I can't even pick. I love playing the outfield and, like, diving for balls and making sweet plays, so
Yeah.
it's hard not to, but the feeling of, like, barreling up a baseball, crushing a double or something like that, it's hard to beat, so
Yeah.
just depends.
And you watch baseball as well?
Oh, yeah.
And I know you play base on PlayStation, right? Is it MLB The Show, or what's the one you play?
Yeah, I do play the show, yeah.
For the gamers out there, they might know that one.
Yeah.
So you consume a lot of baseball.
Yeah, most of what I do is baseball, so
Yeah.
yeah.
It's still passionate about it? You don't not tired of it?
No. If anything, I'm more passionate about it than I was, so.
That's awesome. And how old were you when you started playing baseball?
Like, before I can remember.
Okay, so your whole life you've played.
2 or 3. I probably had my first bat and gloves, so.
Yeah.
First, like, organized baseball was probably 5.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Any other advice or anything else you want to add? Anything you want to plug?
Not really, just.
No side businesses?
No side businesses. I mean, no.
Not yet.
No, just have fun. Just don't stress. That's my biggest thing that I don't do, so.
Perfect. Well, that's sage wisdom from Magnus. Thanks so much for coming on. Really interesting to hear your experiences, and you're the first, like, real competitive athlete alumni we've had on, so appreciate hearing your perspective.
Hopefully there's more.
All right. Well, take care. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Thanks for listening. It's been a pleasure taking you beyond the Grove. The show is hosted, produced, and edited by Mike Vincent and is an Aspengrove School production. Special thanks to Stu Setch for his generous contributions of equipment and expertise towards the creation of this podcast. Also thanks to Ojin Lee for the intro and outro music. You can find his other works on Spotify by searching for Ojin. Please stay tuned for future episodes as we continue to bring you highlights of all the exciting things happening in the AGS community. From all of us at Aspengrove School and me, your host, Mike Vincent, thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Grove. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.